Hi, welcome to our week 6. So we're past halfway through our course, and I'm excited to what's yet to come. I have to say that I so appreciated all of you who were able to share your leadership stories last week. It was so inspiring, and it's really so motivating, and it really touches me deeply to see the beautiful variety of our tapestry, and seeing all your gifts coming together in our group. So I wanted to start by saying that. And as you can see in the syllabus, we're going to turn now more deeply into leadership topics. So our next book is The Leadership Challenge by Kuznets and Posner. And so, the past 5 weeks we have really spent some quality time in supporting your own self-development, and for you to be able to explore some of the qualities and some of the gifts that you bring to the world as a human being, and as a leader. So now we're going to get into some of the leadership theory. And so we're going to be using over the next several weeks this book. And if you look at page 26, it has this table that it talks about 5 principles of leadership that these authors are going to take us through. The 5 are model the way, inspire a shared vision, challenge the process, enable others to act, and encourage the heart. So this is the journey ahead during our next few weeks, and we're going to start with model the way. And so there are a couple of, they call it commitments, that model the way instructs or guide us through. The first one is clarifying values by finding your voice and affirming shared ideals. So I'm reading that from this little summary over here. And so what that is about is that in order for us to lead, we need to be able to have clarity within ourselves about who we are in the world. So, I really think all the work that you've been doing the past few weeks connects very nicely with this principle about knowing what we're about, what are our values, and how do we share those with those spaces in which we interact. The second commitment is set the example by aligning actions with shared values. So it's not only about having values, but it's also about being in integrity with them. How do we align our actions with our shared values? So, so it's going to give you some examples and some ideas about how to do that with your groups, with your teams. Now, I want to say something about leadership that I think that will support all of our learning around leadership. The authors, you'll read that they talk about leadership as a relationship. That leadership doesn't happen without relationship. And so when we think about leadership, I really don't think about positional leadership. I think about a way of being in the world. So in some of the work that I've done, for example, with women leaders, they have related to me about how they don't stop leading even when they are at home. So you might find some of those roles, regardless of whether you're a woman or a man. How do you find yourself leading in your life, or living in a life where you're taking a stand, right? In the many things that you shared last week, a lot of you talked about taking a stand, having dutifulness about what's important to you, having passion, commitment, dedication. So all of that shows in different ways in our lives. So don't feel that this topic doesn't pertain to you if you are not in some positional power or within an organization. But really reflect, even as you go to the supermarket, How are you stepping into the supermarket as someone who follows or as someone who leads? As you're walking down the street, as you're doing your physical activity, your creative expression, as you relate to your family, etc. We're going to be explaining a little bit more of the other principles along the way, in particular when we start talking about enabling others to act and encouraging the heart. There's going to be a lot of relational practices around, how to do this with groups or with individuals. So we'll find settings that will fit you, whether you're working within an organization or not. So I think that's all I have to say for this week for now. This week you're going to be writing your second assignment. I'm gonna say something about that, and then I'll also repeat it as I write the instructions of it. It's important to me that as much as possible you stay within the limits of the words that I'm suggesting that you write. In the last assignment that I received, some of you wrote, not many words, and some of you wrote many words. And on one hand, it makes it hard for me to be able to review all of your assignments with the same amount of equity, and really, it's hard to give the right amount of attention that each of the papers need when I have papers that are of different dimensions. So if you feel like you have a lot to say, so feel free to write that and process that. But then when you submit to me, please limit your number of words to 1,200. And really, I'm doing this not just because I don't want to read as much as you guys want to write, but it's particularly important in the process of digesting information to stretch ourselves, to be able to synthesize our thinking and our words. And then the other thing is that it sets a level field for everybody in the class to have the same opportunity to express themselves. I will say more about the instructions and what the assignment is about on the assignment page. But for now, I hope you get to enjoy the reading. What I like about Kouzes and Posner is that it's fairly easy to read. They put a lot of examples in it, and hopefully you can see yourself in the practices that they suggest. Well, have fun, and I will see you this week on the discussion boards. Thank you so much for being part of this group with me. Take care.